This is eCoffee with Experts, where marketers and founders share what's actually working in SEO, AI, and digital growth. Grab your coffee and fuel your mind as we chat with top minds about their wins, struggles, and lessons you won't find in a blog post. Brought to you by Digital Web Solutions, we bring real talk to help you grow your business, one episode at a time. Let's get started.
Welcome to another episode of eCoffee with Experts. I have with me Artem Skori. He's the VP of Business Development for Boosteroid. They're a huge cloud gaming provider with 27 or more, probably more, we'll talk about it, data centers around the world. And they're bringing cloud gaming from a niche industry into a mainstream product that's like the Netflix for online gaming. Artem, thanks for being here.
Thank you guys. Thank you, Austin, for inviting. Nice to meet you. Thank you.
So I wanted to give the audience some context on your background and how you got into business development, but how you got into the cloud gaming space and how that journey was that brought you to Boosteroid, which you've been there for several years now, obviously as the VP of business development. Were you always a gamer as a kid, or how did you get involved in that?
So basically, since my childhood, I was really into gaming, computers, and the hardware at all. I was constantly disassembling the laptops and the computers just to replace the components, to clean the dust or replace the thermopaste. So I was also trying to update the software on my laptop and the smartphone. Honestly, all these tries has failed, and my parents had to bring my devices to the service center to fix them. Even now, when I'm in charge of strategy and the business development, I really enjoy when I had the opportunity to go to data center and to dig into servers.
Man, so there was a big history of you doing that. You know, I hear from people who get into IT, they kind of have a similar background where they were very curious about taking computers apart, but they loved playing games. Were your parents ever, skeptical, or did they try and influence you to go to a different direction other than a gaming direction?
Not really. They allowed me to do what I want to. So the most active gaming time, the gaming period was the school time, especially during the summer, like everyone, I guess. And when I switched to the university, I started to play less and study more. So by degree, I'm a lawyer, by the way. So not really related to the business development and strategy stuff. So I finished my degree and I almost stopped to play games when I was finishing the university, especially the master degree. And when I came, I had to start playing again. So that's how the life took me back to the gaming.
Right. And sorry, I lost you there for a second just because of the technical difficulty. How long was it after you graduated from your master's degree to working in the cloud gaming industry?
So basically, I started working when I was studying and finishing my master degree. I already started to work in cloud gaming and IT.
Got it. Okay. Got it. So that was a pretty clear path for you, other than the sidetrack of going down the legal profession for a little while and then backing out of that. Not backing out of that, I suppose, completing the degree. Yeah. Wow. That's wild. So
yeah, basically.
So bring us up to speed now. I mean, cloud gaming is evolving really fast. I guess, when did you first start to realize that there was going to be a big shift from a niche product into more of a mainstream digital infrastructure?
So I will dive deeper on our history at Boosteroid. So we started development at 2016. 2019, we launched our first point of presence in Europe, and we was running the web-based solution. So we've been allowing the customer to play in the browser. So then COVID time started, and we've seen the huge population of customers moving to the cloud, because everyone was sitting in their homes and working remotely and basically playing games. And so we realized that the cloud gaming is really aiming to become the new future of the gaming, when we've seen that the customer is looking for their flexibility and for the access. So they're not looking for to own and ownership of the titles. They're now all that they want just to be able to click 2 or 3 times by their mouse and start playing. So, and now when we see that our customers have their hardware really similar by the performance to our hardware, we understand that we are doing right, because this guy can barely launch this game, some specific game, on 4K and 120 FPS, that's the same quality that we offer, and he still chooses the cloud. So we understand that we're doing right thing.
Yeah, man, that's crazy to see. Like looking at the data, your customers, like not just cloud gaming in general, but specifically for Boosteroid, obviously because you have that access. Would you say the customers are more, the people who are spending 4 hours a day on a game, or those who are just maybe coming home after work and playing for 30 minutes to an hour to 90 minutes? Is it more of the heavy users, is what I'm asking, or are you seeing a shift into yeah, more of the kind of general population?
Yeah, so now we are basically seeing the shift for sure. So have different customers. We have the customer who plays like 30 minutes in a week, and have the customers who play in 6 hours a day. Now the cloud gaming becomes basically the same, the most common way for people to play the games. And previously we've been targeting for not only for pro gamers and the hardcore gamers, because it related also to the technology development. Like I'm comparing like 5 years ago. I'm not talking about like the last year or this year. And now we see that the people are using the cloud at the same manner as they used to play the game locally. But they're just using the cloud because of the flexibility and their cross-platform access.
Maybe it's something that I should consider getting into because, to be honest, I am not a cloud gamer myself. But oh my gosh, I have a huge smart TV out there, and that's one of the, I don't know how new this feature is, but you've helped extend onto like the Mac operating system, iPads, smart TVs. Tell me a little bit more about that shift, the moving from just PC to other, I guess. How did it become more accessible?
So basically, as I mentioned, we started as a web-based solution. So we are running and developing mostly. Our main target was to allow the customers to play just in the browser tab, so they don't need to download even any app for Windows or macOS, and they just were able to launch the games in their Chrome, Safari, Opera. Thus, we realized that there is client on their Windows or macOS devices, and then we started to explore other platforms. So we understood that we need to be present on that platforms which a customer and the user is using by their lifestyle, like just on a daily basis. So the customer uses the TVs, and we understood that we need to have our app for the TV, so they can turn their smart TV into a gaming console without any Xbox or PlayStation purchasing. So they just like go to the store, download the app, and in few clicks of their remote control, they will be playing on the big screen.
That's so cool. And such a smart idea. Now, as VP of Business Development, you're not necessarily in charge of user acquisition, if I'm to understand that correctly. You're more in charge of partnerships, and you have partnerships with like Microsoft and Asus and AMD and some of these huge tech brands. I'm curious, like, how do you initiate that conversation? How do you nurture the relationship with these B2B? And then what's it like going into to actually finalize a partnership with some of these bigger brands? Yeah, walk us through that.
Yeah, so we are partners of a lot of big companies such as Google, Samsung, LG, and Mercedes-Benz from the last year. So we reach out to them or they reach out to us. So we believe that the partnerships starts from the point where you and the potential partner has the shared vision of the future and how the technology will be developing. So we never came to the company and trying to sell something. We come to the partner, we explain them how we can be useful for them, how we can transform their platform devices into something newer, which will be bringing more effort for the customer. So we show, for example, let's take the smart TVs. So we show the case when we are turning the smart TVs into absolutely brand new device, which don't require additional like purchases, and you can play games on just from the box.
My gosh.
And after that, yes, and after that, when you and the partners, their like shared vision of the future and of the development, how you can cooperate, like the deal is just like the paperwork, and it happens really fast.
Yeah, so I mean, as long as you're aligned on core values is what it sounds like. The value proposition is already there. You can show them, what that looks like. You mentioned Mercedes-Benz, and I think the audience might not realize why Mercedes-Benz would be a partnership with a cloud gaming platform. Why is that?
So basically, to play the games in the car, we are exclusive
What?
partner of Mercedes-Benz for in-car gaming. So we working
Wow.
with them for almost 2 years or even a bit more already. So we developed the solution for the in-car gaming on the big screen, on the multimedia screen, on the driver console.
Mm.
So it's also will be really relevant with the development of the self-driving cars and
Mm.
the passenger or the driver, how you call him, will need to do something, and it's really need to he really needs to be entertained by something. And gaming is a really good solution for this, especially in a pair with the development of the 5G and the 6G technologies for the network connection.
Oh man, I'm just imagining myself in a new Mercedes, maybe in a couple years, because this is rolled out already. No, this.
Yeah, we had the showcase in the Gamescom last year.
Mm.
Yeah, so we are also working with other automotive providers to bring the in-car games to other cars.
Wow, so cool. And thanks for sharing that. I know yeah, if I were listening to this, I'd be like, why the heck are you partnered with a car brand? But now it makes sense because we're all living in the future right now. So that brings us to another point, which is a shift in consumer behavior, especially in cloud gaming. You're finding other opportunities where people have maybe some more time on their hands. How have you seen, or I guess what have you learned about user behavior, in the cloud gaming industry and that other people might not really understand?
So user behavior grows parallelly with the technology developments. For
Hmm.
example, it brings 120 FPS to 40 FPS. 4K gaming comes to the world, and the customers start to require this technology in cloud gaming. So you need to be really prompt in your development and flexible to shift the roadmap to prioritize something on top of another point. And so you need to be able to cover the demand from the customer. And also we understand that the customer, unless the customer is happy with your services, he will never tell you about this. And if he or is dissatisfied about anything, like something works wrong on his end, he also will never tell you about this. He will go to their social media, to the comments, he will go everywhere, but
Mm,
not to you to try to solve this problem.
mm,
So you need to be really flexible also in this purpose, and you need to be able to work with the customer even if he not approaching you directly.
mm.
So that's why we work closely with we have the like dedicated teams who work with our community. We have the team who work checking their reviews, who checking the comments and everything where the customer can leave their like feedback or negative experience. And we are really trying to close and to fix this issue for the customer.
Mm.
And we reaching out to the customer directly. So we are showing that we are really value our customer and trying to improve their quality, and it's the most important for us.
Yeah, we talk in marketing about SEO has changed from search engine optimization to search everywhere optimization, and it's almost like you're having that omnipresence on all channels no matter where they're at, no matter where they're, either praising or complaining. We want to have Boosteroids representatives or someone from the either from the company or even an advocate there to walk people through. I'm curious, I have a community management background. Do you have your own like user community on a separate platform like Discord or School or Circle?
Yeah, for sure. We have the Discord channel. This Discord channel is monitored by our team. We also have the Discord, we have the Reddit community
Hmm.
where the customer are also creating the subreddits, and also our team is proactively monitoring the Reddit
Hmm.
because the Reddit is really popular in the US. The US is our top one market, I guess.
Mm.
So we really care about their reviews on the Reddit. And we have their communities on the Facebook groups. One of the biggest is, I think, is for all countries. So they have the like dedicated groups, and they're really proactive in commenting something, discussing, and sharing the feedback. So we are working also with the communities.
Super smart. I was actually in doing some prep for the show. I went to the Reddit and I went to the subreddits and we're looking at what people were saying, there's people from all over the world who are just as passionate about Boosteroid and cloud gaming in
Mhm.
general. So I got to see kind of the ups and downs, and I know the moderators are one of the most important roles that a company can have, especially with a SaaS product. Like really getting that user feedback. I want to turn it back over to business development, and a community is, let me tie this in. A community is a space
Mhm.
where you're encouraging people to share their feedback, whether it's amazing as an advocate or whether there can be something to be improved. So it's a little bit of a risk, but obviously the net benefit is far greater than any of the risks in a community sense. I'm curious what kind of risks maybe you've taken on a business development level that have actually paid off. Can you think of any, like, off the top of your head, or I'm curious what kind of out of the box strategies you've used?
Yeah, so I would say the most big risk we've taken, it was basically entering the Latin market.
Mm.
So, and like bringing the local hardware to these countries.
Oh wow.
So we have the servers based in São Paulo in Brazil,
Mm.
and there is quite a big number of servers there. It's one of five, or maybe a bit more, our biggest server hubs at the moment, and we are continuing to bring more servers to have more capacity there. So that was the biggest risk because previously, before we had the servers in Brazil delivered, customers from Latin countries were connecting to the servers in US, in Texas, Florida,
Mm.
and they've been playing with a big latency, like
Yeah.
120, 150 milliseconds. And for the gaming, it's not really good latency, I'd say. So they've been playing on the servers from US, and we made a lot of research. We checked a lot of data. We checked a lot of logs to see what's their experience, and we've seen that they're playing with like so big latency, and the customers in the communities in Facebook and other groups, they've been sharing that same kind of idea. So they can play with big latency, but now at least they can play because previously they even had no opportunity to play their favorite game, so it worked out for them. Last year, we made a decision to start bringing the servers in Brazil. It was really tough
Mm.
because you need to understand local regulations, local laws, and everything related to bringing the hardware locally there.
Hmm.
And it worked out for us pretty well. So we've been utilizing the hardware in Brazil. And so even now we have a big number of servers there. We still have the utilization of these servers up to 100%. User base in Latin countries is growing every day and every hour, I'd say. And that's why we need to bring more and more servers there.
Absolutely. My fiance is from Sao Paulo, and we're actually going down to Rio in September. So maybe we'll see one of the centers down there. Probably not. I'm sure you guys. I'm sure there's no way I'd be able to tell, right? But the Latin American market is massive, and if what I've noticed is they tend to have a really big influencer market. So with cloud gaming, you were talking about partnerships with professional players on certain games. Is there like an influencer strategy or anything that would help with either partnerships on your end, like the B2B partnerships, or with user acquisition specifically in LATAM?
So we don't have kind of specific work with influencers. We have there some local Brazilian, especially YouTubers, bloggers who make reviews on cloud gaming services, who plays on Boosteroid, with whom we work with. We can't say they are dedicated working with their influencers over there. So the main reason for this, because we can't afford us, not in terms of money perspective, but in terms of the capacity perspective,
Mm.
to work with influencers and to promote proactively the service. Because for example, we have 1,000 of servers
Mm.
and we have the economics and the metrics. So we understand how many concurrent users we can host with these servers and how much monthly active users we can host with this number of servers.
Mm.
So if we overreach this number of monthly active users, the customers will be facing their queues on the service. They will be
Mm.
facing not good experience. So we basically right now have the queues for our servers in Brazil. So the customer will can't get, unfortunately, and it's a big shame for us as a business, as a cloud gaming company, that they are standing in the queues for like
Mhm.
for some period of time. It's not big wait time, but it's still queue, and it like may take a couple of minutes for the customer to get their access to the server.
Mm.
So that's the reason why we don't utilize all the marketing assets and the opportunities that we have with our partners through our all partners channels. Because, for example, the Chromebooks, it's I don't know, hundreds of million laptops across the world, and it's a really big number. So we won't be able to handle this coming instantly to our service. And that's why we need to be able to plan the capacities on how we grow, how we expand the number of servers, and also to acquire the new customers mostly organically.
Yeah, you have to balance the cash flow and the new clients, obviously. Yeah, it seems like there's a constant like back and forth, like we need the new revenue to build the servers, but in order to do that, like yeah, I see where you're going. That's challenging, especially with such a global market, if you're looking at the USD converting to Brazilian reais or a Mexican peso or anywhere else in the world, there's that currency exchange. How do you sort of balance that strategy of monetization with such a broad, a global base of users?
So basically, we are not trying to save us from the changes, and we just understand that we need to be flexible, and we need to be the company who can live in the changing world and the changing of the technologies.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we are a cloud game provider. So we understand that their cloud is changing, developing, and we need to be flexible and ready for the changes, basically.
Mm.
So we can utilize the hardware for some period of time. We understand how long we can use these servers, for how many years.
Mm.
They will be able to provide the 100 performance customers. And also the second point here is that we work closely with ASUS and AMD
Mm.
to build the custom servers for our purposes. So we don't utilize their really crazy expensive servers with H100 GPUs, which only one single GPU can cost up to tens of thousands of dollars. So we developed their custom configuration servers based on AMD GPU RX 7900 XT at the moment, and we are also working on the next gen specification for our cloud gaming service. And that's how we are able to utilize and balance their capex investing in the hardware and receiving the revenue from our current user base.
Yeah, constantly upgrading and making sure. My next question is what tech advancements or changes in technology, whether that be hardware or software, do you see kind of on the horizon that's going to have the biggest impact on cloud gaming in the next 3 to 5 years, let's say?
Yeah, definitely. So the first and the main point, it will be their edge infrastructure and the development of the G and the 6G technologies
Mm.
for internet connection. And because it's basically the most important topic when it comes to cloud gaming.
Mm-hmm.
The customer needs to have the good bandwidth and the good latency to be able to play in good quality in the cloud. And with massive development of the 5G, it will be absolutely the next level of cloud gaming. And so it will also allow to minimize the latency for the cloud game providers, and it will work out for sure. The second one, I would say it will be the cross-platform. So the customer will, and basically now the customer wants to be able to play in the cloud on the cross-platform devices, and they want to be able to use different devices. They want to be able to switch devices, for example, start playing on the smartphone, then continue playing on his PC or laptop, or smart TV, or even Mercedes cars.
In their
So
car,
I'm
yeah.
starting to play. I'm playing right now, for example, Fortnite, and I understand that I need to leave for the business meeting. I just go back to my car, sit on the front seat, and continue playing on this very same place where I stopped on the plane on the PC.
Wow.
So it will be basically the future. And that's what we are doing now. So we already have the feature, the possibility to customer to switch between devices.
Mm.
For example, I can start playing on my smartphone, and on Boosteroid in the browser, and I can continue playing on my smart TV on very same place, exactly the same place. It just switches device from one device to another device, and I'm connected to the same virtual machine with the same game and the same progress.
I'm so curious when you say 5G and 6G, what's the difference? Like to me as a user, as a player, other than like faster speeds, less latency, maybe higher capacity for sharper graphics. I mean, am I kind of getting it, or is there something else about 6G and like the next generation of connectivity and speed that affects the user in a way that I'm not thinking?
So honestly, I'm not that much tech guy and especially networking guy. So yeah, that's basically the main points for the benefits for the customer
Mm,
who will be using the cloud with their development of these technologies. So they will be receiving the more bandwidth, less latency, and
mhm.
that's the most important points over here.
I have a question. It's not on our topics that you and I talked about, but you're talking about cross platforms now, right? From
Mhm.
different devices. Is there an idea or a thought to go into more of the wearable tech, right? Like the Apple Vision Pro or the Meta Quest or, even Meta Ray-Bans in gosh, 5 years or something. What does that look like? Is there any direction or any desire to go into those types of gadgets?
Yeah, definitely it will be real. I would say it will be real in a couple of years, maybe a bit
Mhm.
more, like 3 to 5 years, something like this.
Mhm.
But yeah, for sure, the customer will be demanding this when it becomes the first concept we'll believe will be released. Like it will be like closed beta released or showcased on any exhibition, and the customer will start asking on everywhere when you add this feature, when you add this feature, and so you will be forced to develop also this solution for AR and VR because even now, sometimes we receive the customer who's asking, like, do you guys support VR? I have their Meta glasses for the VR, and I want to understand if I can connect them to my device, to my smartphone, to my smart TV, or to my PC, and play some games. And the next demand will be when I will be able to play on Boosteroid on my Apple Vision Pro or
Mm.
any other VR glasses for sure.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely coming. Artem, where can we find you if somebody wants to get in touch about cloud gaming or business development or anything of that nature, the Latin American market, is LinkedIn the best place to reach you, or how would you like to be contacted?
Yeah, LinkedIn is works pretty well. I'm being reached out by other people, other companies, and honestly, we had some of partnerships and deals that has been reached out through LinkedIn, and
Mm.
we made them in place.
Yeah, and I find the same thing. LinkedIn is the grown-up playground for business. So I love it.
Yeah, for sure.
It really is. Last question here. If met somebody who had no clue what cloud gaming is and they just didn't have any idea what it is, what would be your
Mhm.
message to them to encourage them to check it out?
I would say the cloud gaming is the Netflix and the Spotify for the games. So previously we had to purchase the every single song, every single video or film, and now everything becomes to Netflix and Spotify and other streaming services. And the same happening with the cloud gaming. So now the people want just to subscribe and to be able to play the games. So it's the future of the gaming, and it will be definitely how the cloud gaming and the gaming at all will be developing in years, and it will be really rare to have the local PC at your home. So as now, it's really rare to have, I don't know, vinyl player for the music.
Mm-hmm. So I told you that was the last question, and I completely lied. I completely lied because it's opening up so many more interesting, boxes in my head. So you're saying essentially you can install the app, like the Boosteroid app, on like Xbox or PS5, but you can still also download games from those stores on those devices and play them,
Mhm.
on the Xbox. You're saying essentially what like why would someone even use let's say the App Store on an Xbox or a PS5 when they have something like Boosteroid?
We don't understand this, honestly. So that's the future of the technology, that's the future of the gaming, and we believe that in few years nobody will be using the consoles to play the games, and everyone will be using the cloud. And we see from the big tech companies that the vision of the future of the development of this technology corresponds to our vision, and that also signals us that we are doing right things and we are moving the right direction.
Perfect. All right, that's it. I'm done. No more questions from me.
Okay,
Oh man,
super.
man, Artem, thanks for being here. I really appreciate it. And yeah, people, please reach out if you have questions or want to further that conversation.
Thank you for the inviting. It was a pleasure to meet you and speaking with you and answering the questions. Thank you. Bye bye.
Absolutely. Cheers.